Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Welcome back. It is the Rob Kendall Show. Let's find out why the Republicans suddenly made the turn on Diego. Here with us, the state treasurer, Daniel Elliott. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Rob. How's it going?
You know why I like you?
Why?
I can just say heinous things about you, and you call me that night, and you're like, I probably deserve that. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You're like the only guy that does that.
Well, sometimes I deserve it. Sometimes I disagree with you.
That's right.
And we've had those moments too.
Yeah.
But first, before we get started, cool new studio, dude.
Yeah, Jason built it all with his bare hands, and Ethan Hatcher.
Well, Jason, Ethan, awesome.
You know, we're so cool here. A guy with the competition came over and built our studio. That's how cool we are. All right, so let's talk about what went down. Well, first of all, let's start with the Republican convention on Saturday.
Okay, let's do it.
Anything surprise you about the results?
No. Now, here's something that I will tell you that's very interesting.
Yes.
And I say this, I've been a delegate for a long time. In fact, you and I went to my first convention was the same as yours.
Yeah,
I think
14.
the one in Fort Wayne,
Yeah.
For Kelly Mitchell and so forth.
That one took forever, too.
That one did take forever. And they always take
They
forever.
all take forever.
But I have been a delegate for years. When I'm no longer state treasurer, I will still be a delegate. And the delegate process is one actually I respect. I think it's important to understand the delegate process. And I think something that's interesting, and I learned this not only in my time as a county chair, but I learned this in my time as an elected office holder who has to work with and talk to delegates. Everyone likes to think of the delegates like stew, like they're one big stew.
Yeah.
And they're not. You got your carrots, you got your beef, you got your onions.
The stew.
They're different pieces. And so when you think of delegates, you have different groups. So a large group of delegates are local elected officials. You're a mayor or a town councilman or a township trustee, local grassroots folks. A lot of them are also local precinct committeemen. In fact, one of the things that happened at this convention is our chair, Lana Kiesling, asked for everyone who's a precinct committeeman to stand up. And honestly, no joke, it was probably 95% of the room. So these are just, and when we say a precinct committeeman is the most lackluster, non-confrontational job. The job of a precinct committeeman is to go and say, hey, let's get people to turn out and vote in your
Yeah,
precinct.
but these conventions, they always take forever.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. It should not take 5 hours to vote twice. It did when we were at our first conventions together in 14.
It did.
So in 12 years, it's gotten no better. You've got people not showing up. There were 100+ people that don't show up. You got people like our friend Ethan, who they don't tell him when he's got to pay his fee. They take his money. He shows up and they go, you didn't pay the fee on time. The whole thing's a disaster. It seems they force you to pay a fee to run,
Yes.
even though you didn't even have a competition.
It is what it
It
is.
seems like a giant insider money grab that is highly rigged.
So, and this is where I'll disagree. So I got to push back a bit. So yes, there are things like paying fees, and yes, sometimes things get lost in the shuffle. When I was a county chair, I would always call all of my individual delegates and say, hey, you got to pay at this point in time, so that because that's a very clear understanding. I don't know what happened in Ethan's case.
It's called incompetence.
Again,
Natalie Goodwin is totally incompetent.
actually, see, I like Natalie, so I
She's
can't
not
go
your
there.
county chairman. I mean, look at the Marion County Republican Party. It's a dumpster fire.
The
Dan.
Marion County Republican Party is dealing with they're fighting an uphill battle constantly, and I say that because the Republican Party, or excuse me, the Democrat Party in Morgan County when I was chair was always fighting an uphill battle against us. It's part of that process. But here's what I will tell you about conventions. Conventions are where regular folks, regular Republicans, grassroots Republicans are able to have their voice heard. And again, using that stew analogy, you got some folks, you got the young Republicans, you got these groups over here who are very focused on local government issues. You got folks over here who are maybe a little bit on the edge. You got groups from all over. That's okay. That's part of our process.
All right, so you guys pick the guy I've now dubbed the Ferryman, Max Engling. He is the character in the Krista Berg song "Don't Pay the Ferryman," and I think I'm not happy about what you guys did with Diego.
Okay, well, let's be honest. Now, this is where I'm going to push back. You're not happy about what we did with Diego because it's going to make for a lot more of a boring time up till November.
No.
Nah,
I'm not.
Look,
Dan, I came to you a year and a half ago, did I not?
Mm-hmm.
As I did every statewide office holder, long before there was any convention, any election. I publicly was talking about the guy for years.
Right.
There's a laundry list of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, top for me is the 10-day trip to India.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the guy on the taxpayer-funded contract who's there selling visa access or bragging about it. The venture capital guys there with him. And every one of you guys in the State House ignored me. One of your employees was there, chuckled at me. I think you chuckled at me. I mean, at least you were there. You were the only statewide there. And then all of a sudden, a month before the election, in some bizarre coincidence, in a unified voice, the scandals are too much. Diego's got to go.
So now so let's bring that up. So I've heard I listen to the show.
You're our fan.
I'm one of your fans. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe the only fan.
Singular.
But, yeah,
We found you.
Yeah, there you go. Which is the only reason I'm allowed on the show. But let's talk about this for a second. I've heard you say multiple times, why isn't Daniel Elliott doing something about this?
Yes.
Why isn't the governor doing something about this?
Right.
Why isn't Todd Rokita doing something about this? But here's something that you have to understand. A lot of people like to compare the state of Indiana to a board, and say, okay, the governor's the CEO, and then the comptroller would be the CFO, and I'm the chief investment officer. And we use those terms, but that's actually not true. It's really a bad analogy if you really want to get at it, because the reality is each one of us is a constitutional elected office holder. One of the things people try to say, and even I've heard people try to pass legislation to say, well, we should just appoint the treasurer. We should appoint the comptroller. I completely disagree, because each of us is a check and a balance, and I don't have the authority, even if I see something that I'm not comfortable with, to do an investigation. I don't have any ability to say, hey, I want to look at Diego Morales' books. I wish I could.
But your voice is working right now.
And
right? And when I talked to you a year and a half ago, your voice was working then.
And to the point, and this is what, and here's to share a private conversation.
That's what I was asking you guys to do it. No point did I say, Dan, you should go arrest Diego Morales. I said, you guys have the voice, the bully pulpit
to demand something be done. You're telling me by the way, don't tell me Rokita don't have power. He sent some worker to a guy's house threatening to indict him. So don't tell me Rokita doesn't have the power to do that. I mean, that made the news. He sent a worker to a guy's house threatening to indict him.
But Rokita, the only one who has the ability to take out a sitting elected office holder is a judge, and they have to commit a crime. There's a reason our
Do you think Diego Morales is a brazenly corrupt individual?
Do I think that he should resign? I've already said
No. That's not what I asked you. I said, do you think he's a brazenly corrupt individual?
What's your definition of corrupt?
I think using your office for personal benefit.
Then I would agree with that definition.
So, okay. So we now agree, right? And that this guy used his office for personal benefit.
And
we
so,
have no idea whether he broke the law or not. And what I came to you guys is saying, look, pick your favorite. I'm talking about India here. You got the car, the no bid contracts, the using campaign state resource for campaign commercials, voting in a county different from where he took his homestead credit. Pick your favorite thing. You guys in a unified voice, if you'd have said, we are calling on the Inspector General to get to the bottom of what happened with these things. We're calling on Ryan Mears to launch an investigation into these things. You don't think that would have moved the needle to get the truth?
So here's where I think that the real way to solve these problems are. And maybe this is me. And again, you and I have had this conversation. You feel I waited too long to speak up. And I gave that to you. I said, you're probably right. I probably should have spoke up a little sooner. Sometimes things don't happen in the timing that they need to. But in this particular case, I do believe the timing was right in the sense of the real way we fix problems is via elections. This was a Republican mess, and the Republicans fixed the mess.
Right before the election.
Which is when that's the only opportunity to do it. So I will say this.
Bad candidates are a mess. This guy may very well have committed criminal behavior in the office.
If that's the case, then legal authorities will find that out, and there will still be accountability for that. That I do not know.
So are
because
you
I don't
going
have
to say now there should be a criminal investigation by Ryan Mears, by the Inspector General, ethics investigation by Inspector General into Diego
I don't
Morales?
have the authority to tell these folks what they should do.
I'm not asking that, Dan. You are too smart for this. You know me trying to pressure you guys. And by the way, your colleagues, they all thought it was funny. That's what really pissed me off. Everybody thought this was fun and games. I don't think my money being abused. I don't think some guy potentially, he was brazenly corrupt. He's highly unethical, potentially maybe making criminal acts while he has access to all my personal information as the head of elections in the state of Indiana, thousands of businesses and their information. I don't think that's funny at all. And you guys did nothing. And it's not just you. It's the House and the Senate who fully funded the guy's budget, and then they act all offended that all this stuff happened.
So, again, in defense of the House and the Senate, and this goes both ways, the office of the Secretary of State has a lot of good, hardworking people. Brad King, who ran elections until recently and resigned because of his concerns, that is one of the most stand-up people I've ever met.
I agree. Nobody's saying investigate them. We're saying
No, but what I'm saying is this. When you mention why still fund these things, because elections still have to happen. And there are good people who work at that office who are trying to do good work. And so you can't just say, oh, you know what? We're just going to defund the entire Secretary of State's office because of one individual. That wouldn't work either. Again, it's a hard balance.
You believe that Diego Morales should be able to hold an entire government hostage and say, you're not going to do anything about me because you guys like Brad King?
No, what I'm saying to you is that at the end of the day, the best way to solve this problem is through elections, which is what happened.
So there should be no accountability for Diego Morales.
Never said that.
Then what should happen to him?
Well, that is what has to be determined based on, if Ryan Mears wants to go do something, that's up to Ryan Mears. If the Inspector General wants to do his role and look into things, that's up to him. I don't have authority over them. And it wouldn't be appropriate for any elected official to start to use their office to push at another elected official, because
Rokita sent an employee to a guy's house threatening to indict him. He did, Dan. There was a big article written about it.
But here's
the
the
random private citizen.
So, but think of it this way. So imagine, and we've had this happen in the past, when you have a governor who might be a Democrat, but you might have a treasurer who's a Republican. That happened during the Evan Bayh years. Imagine if Bayh decided, well, you know what? I am the governor. I'm going to use the force of my office to investigate and do all these things and create all these problems for this person just based on pure politics. The reason that we are all separately elected individuals and we have a degree of separation from each other is because it allows us to work independently and only be answerable to the voters.
But you're all on the same political party. It wouldn't be politics. And if somebody's potentially committing criminal behavior, which we all agree there's red flags all over the place, that's not politics. That's you saying you and you do a fine job with it are entrusted to billions of taxpayer dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody thinks you're totally above reproach and you're very good at your job.
Thank you, by the way.
You're welcome. But you have a voice. I don't think it makes it politics for you to say, hey, there's something very wrong with this guy.
I use my voice.
You did to win an election.
No, I did not.
Why didn't you endorse David Shelton? If it was you pick a guy who you know nothing about.
Actually, that's not true. I've known Max for a long time. He's a good guy. And here's the point. But let's go back to your question.
Diego was a good guy too. I mean, come on.
Okay. Elections are about multiple different things.
Did you know about Engling's criminal charges?
No, but you know what? Here's my response to that.
So you don't know him that well.
Okay, let me yeah, well, I will just say this. When I was a young man, I ran faster.
I'm not saying what he did was wrong. I'm asking, did you know about that?
No, I didn't know about that. But
we said on the air, I said they were dismissed. What he did was really stupid. He could have killed somebody. I don't think it's a nothing burger like he made it out to be. They let him go. It's fine. But you don't know him that well because you didn't know about that. That's a pretty big deal.
But see, not everybody knows everything about everyone.
But you endorsed him.
Yes, I did.
Here's why. State
so let's go back to your original question. Why didn't I support Dave Shelton?
Yes.
I love Dave Shelton. I am never going to come up here and say negative things about Dave. He's a friend. He's a good guy. Very, very, very good at his job. But I'm going to quote you for a moment.
Oh,
well, I
love that.
I'll paraphrase it to be honest. But I'm going to paraphrase for you. He struggled on the campaign trail for 4.5 years to get his message across. He was very technical.
Yeah.
Which is, as a nerdy guy, I love that about him.
So did you when you ran for treasurer.
Yes, but
you were no offense, you were the least dynamic guy there, and I said people should vote for you, right?
But here's the thing. I was able to get my message across. He's had 4.5 years and he didn't.
Had you guys told people to do for Shelton what you did for Engling, he would have won that thing by 500 votes.
And if he'd have been able to get his message across earlier, he might have been the guy.
Fine with his message. I think you guys didn't want Shelton in there because you wouldn't have been able to control him.
Oh, see, now, you might be able to say that about other people. You can't say that about me, and you know that. I at no point, I'm not a bigwig. I'm just a guy from Martinsville. And at the end of the day,
you ran on your qualification for the position. Dave Shelton is infinitely more qualified than Max Engling.
See, and here's the point. But the delegates didn't think so.
Because you guys rigged it and told everybody. You had Banks, Rokita, you.
Totally disagree with you.
Oh, get out of here.
No. You're way off because here's where I go back to.
A guy who nobody knew anything about, who got smoked in his race for Congress. He couldn't even win his own delegate race. You guys anoint him the next Reagan, and you're like, the delegates disagree.
Dude, I got smoked in my race for county commissioner before I ran for state treasurer.
Played these people into it. And
totally
you guys are
disagree.
backslapping and glad-handed yourselves like you guys just won the Super Bowl.
It's totally
gross,
disagree with you.
man.
Totally disagree with you. And here's why. Here's 100% why I totally disagree with you. Because, again, I go back to what we talked about earlier about being a delegate. Delegates are a whole host of people. There's so many different types of delegates all across the state. I have traveled across this state. I know these delegates really, really well. And you've got folks in rural Indiana, going down to Jennings County. They have their thoughts about things. You got these folks in Pulaski County. They have their thoughts. You got folks in Allen County. They have their thoughts. And you have, even within each community, different folks who have different things that drive them about Republican conservative politics. And guess what? They're all part of the stew, and it's not a bad thing. Now, what did Max do versus what Shelton did? Shelton did a really, really good job of getting county clerks behind him. And I'm going to tell you,
his mistake is he talked about the actual office versus some BS political stuff like closing the primaries that he doesn't have any control over. That was his mistake, Dan. And he talked about the competency of the office versus some BS stuff about CDL licenses for drivers that he doesn't have any control over.
Except for the fact that while that is true, if you're only focusing on local elections, absolutely good. He gave very good points about that. But there are other issues that people care about too. These are things that you have to realize when you're looking at all these coalitions of different delegates. And at the end of the day, now we're sitting here saying that he didn't do these things, but let's not forget something. Dave Shelton was leagues ahead of Diego Morales at that first vote. Diego Morales was closer to Jamie Rittenauer than he was to Dave Shelton.
Right.
That race, we found out very quickly, what ended up becoming a race between Max and Dave Shelton,
right,
which is not a bad thing because you have two very good, very competent people. If I go back to my own race 4 years ago, there were 4 of us running.
Yeah. Your people stayed.
My people stayed.
They
did.
They stayed.
But at the end of the day,
did you lock them in?
Close
the doors.
There was a chain involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but the reality is that if you look at the people who were running, the 4 of us who were running for treasurer 4 years ago, all good people, all well-respected Republicans, and ultimately only one person can win. That doesn't mean any of the people who lost are bad Republicans. I have lost half the races I've run for, and I've won half of them. And that's okay. At the end of the day, we're still good Republicans, and what we will do is we're going to coalesce behind the people that we pick and get these people across the line, because that's the real battle.
Okay, we go on for an hour on this. I do want to spend plenty of time, though. Micah Beckwith is like obsessed with you. He's huge mad at you. What was going on? You spoke at some event.
Actually, I had before that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like that was you spoke at an event, and you basically just said, hey, be nice to everybody, love your neighbor. And then you turned into some pro-Islam. Explain to everybody what's happening here, because everybody's like, what is going on between the state treasurer and the lieutenant governor?
Actually, I don't have anything going on between me and him is on my end.
Right. Why is he mad at you?
The last conversation we had, right before we started posting things on social media, the last conversation he said, don't you hate Islam? And
to you personally?
To me personally, yeah.
It's like on the phone conversation?
A text.
Oh, text, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then and I said to him, because I'm a Christian, and I'm not always a very good Christian, but I try my best to be a good one.
Because he does not like that you're LDS, right? Does it stem from that?
While people have told me that, I've never had that conversation with him, so I can't say that. But the conversation I did have with him when he said, don't you hate Islam? I said, well, I believe in following the admonition of our Savior, and that is in John 15:12, he says that this commandment I leave unto you, that you love one another. And
did he respond? Because he went on a podcast. He said he hates Islam. Then he said something to the effect of, well, I love Muslims because I convert them to Christians. And it's like, great that that's your faith, right? But you are the lieutenant governor for the entire state. This comment and the things you're talking about have nothing to do with things that are affecting everyday Hoosiers. I mean, nobody is trying to enact Sharia law in the state of Indiana that I'm aware of.
No.
Why don't you focus on property taxes? Why don't you focus on utility bills? Why don't you focus on the complete corruption at the IDC, tolling, holding the bears accountable, which you're the only guy to do that so far? It was like so bizarre that that's what he was focused on. And so is that why he reached out to you about that?
You know what? That was the last conversation we had. So after that, that was it. And so I was asked to speak a short time later.
Excuse me.
No worries. I was asked to speak a short time later at an interfaith event.
Right.
And it was mostly members of different clergy.
Right.
And then because they're trying to be, the people who organize this are trying to be very appropriate, they had 3 Democrats and 3 Republicans. So that way they're in their mind, they're creating balance. And what I spoke on, and you can see it on my social media page, I put the whole speech, which, let's be honest, no one really wants to sit there and listen to the Treasurer of State speak for 10 minutes.
No, it's really boring. Sorry.
It is. But
I mean, you're a great guy. But that's
no,
super boring.
I get it. But, I did some, I pointed out what Madison said, what Adams said, what Washington said, what our founding fathers said about religious freedom. I truly do believe that is an important issue. And as a conservative, that is not something I'm ever going to back down from. And the reason being, aside from the pure conservative principle that it is, but also, as you mentioned, I'm a Latter-day Saint. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I served as a missionary for 2 years in South America. My faith is important to me. And if sometimes I get emotional about that, I will not apologize for that. Less than a year ago, last fall, a crazed person drove a truck into one of our churches in Michigan.
Yep.
And burnt people alive and shot them if they tried to escape.
Right.
I cannot be a hypocrite. Because at the end of the day, being a Christian is hard. Because you got to love people who hate you.
And I can tell it's very sincere for you. It's very emotional. Do you think he does all of this for show? Like, I don't, and look, nobody fell victim to him more than me, right? We were very close. I've now become convinced that this is all just for show. He doesn't care about people at all. And this is all about himself and his ability to draw attention to himself for whatever his next gig is. I think that's why he hired a former Letterman writer / reality TV show guy as his comms director. I don't think he gives a damn about anybody but himself.
Well, here's what I'll say. My job right now is the treasurer of the state of Indiana. And hopefully I have between now and November to convince people to let me do it one more time. But when it comes to speaking up for religious freedom, our Second Amendment rights, these things that are basic to who we are, people don't have to vote for me if they don't agree with me.
I mean, they practically like put you in a turban hijacking an airplane or something.
They did have some fun with AI.
It was, and it's just like, what the hell is going on here? That of all the stuff we could be talking about, look, if any place I'm not worried about Sharia law being enacted, it's the state of Indiana.
No.
But I did think you speaking out was important because, look, hey, if it's Fatty Cadora or whatever, the Micah can brush that off. I think you probably have some credentials to go toe-to-toe with him. So most people, I say, ignore Micah. I'm kind of glad you called him out.
Well, at the end of the day, being a conservative means something. And sometimes if you have to stand alone on something, that's fine. But let's be honest, you and I both know social media ain't real life.
That's right. It's not.
So people can scream and holler on social media, but, I just went through a convention with a whole lot of conservatives. And of course, it was a voice vote. But the voice vote was so overwhelming.
They tried to do something to you at convention, didn't they? Micah, you said is Micah's guys, or Micah's behind it, right?
I don't know who was behind it, but I was told it was folks who were associated with different individuals, as you mentioned. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter.
So what they try to do, like stop you from
running, yeah.
Why didn't they just run somebody against you?
That would have been fine because this was the first time in my entire political career I didn't have an opponent.
The whole thing seems very squirrely to me. The way some of these guys do
but this goes back to what
very backwards.
This is what I go back to what I told you about. When you're really looking at a convention, you've got all these different coalitions of different people who think different things, who are trying to get good work done. And maybe we disagree on some things, on some minor things, but if you look at the support that I had, it was so overwhelming. Why? Not because Daniel Elliott is any particular great person. I'm kind of boring.
Very boring.
I know.
But I felt the same thing about Shelton.
But
that's why I find it ironic you were not behind Shelton. You're like, he's too boring.
But in the last 2 years, I raised $1.24 billion. That's investment money that we didn't have to tax Hoosiers. That was double what was made the previous decade.
You don't have us in SpaceX, do you?
I do not have us in SpaceX. Stayed away from that. Stayed away from that.
That was very bad.
But that's the point is I did that. I I'm the guy who stood up against BlackRock and got them out of our pension funds and getting us away from these woke DEI ESG principles.
Look, I think you're full of it on the Diego and the Engling stuff, but I will say you are regularly the guy that will go alone on stuff. The Bears stuff was great. I know you got in big trouble for that too.
It is what it is, but at the same time, and I know I tell this story often. Everybody thinks this is a story, but it's not. I grew up in a trailer with nothing. My family had nothing, and oftentimes when we think of the average Hoosier, that I when BlackRock's trying to buy AES, I said that is not good for ratepayers, because I understand when that family says, "Hey, do I have to? I can't let my child go do Little League because I can't afford to pay my electric bill."
Right.
I've been that child.
All right, I'll let you go with this.
Yeah.
You've been great. I love that you come in and take the smoke.
I'll take it. I'll throw it back too.
I don't mind saying I'm gonna vote for you this fall.
Thank you.
There'll be the second time I voted for you, unless you do something unless you get caught doing something, right? Like if you end up with a mug shot, I'm pulling up.
Well,
it's not an endorsement. I don't endorse. I just tell people.
You don't have to worry about that, because Governor Braun will have to pick a new treasurer, because my wife will kill me.
Your opponent is a complete squirrel, by the way. You have drawn life's lucky lottery by who you're running against. But if Diego Morales walks out December 31st to the State House without any accountability, will the taxpayers have been better served?
I don't know, but I think it will take longer than what I think. I think things take a long time in the justice system, and it bothers me. But it's also the best way for our system to work, to make sure it's done the right way.
All right, there we go. People want to learn. You're campaigning, so if people want to learn more about you, what
DanielElliott.org.
Daniel,
2 L's, 2 T's.
You got a .org.
I got a .org. Oh yeah. Well, it's because being an IT guy, I bought my name a long time ago.
You bypassed the com and went right to the org. Daniel Elliott, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on The Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on The Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.